Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is aggressively monetized, and the situation does make the experience a little bit sour, and ultimately I wanted to talk about it. So I know I don't discuss Final Fantasy content on this channel, it's been mainly Kingdom Hearts, but Final Fantasy is part of that game's DNA. More so, anything that occurs within the Final Fantasy series affects both these franchises. And there hasn't been anything new for Kingdom Hearts in a while, so I decided to turn my head to Square Enix's newest mobile title, Final Fantasy Ever Crisis. This iOS and Android title will help me fill out the time as we wait for more Missing Link news. But it's important to mention that I'm not really a mobile gamer. A lot of my experiences are allocated to console or PC games, and the extent of my mobile playtime is usually dedicated to scrolling on social media, playing Pokemon Go, and that dead Kingdom Hearts gacha from all those years ago. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the whole thing. But upon playing some Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, it turns out that this game is pretty decent. Like, I ended up liking it a lot more than I initially thought I was going to. As someone who's a lighter Final Fantasy fan but has played the original and the remake, I went into this experience as kind of a casual player. The gameplay itself is something I found enjoyable since it's what the basis of the game is. But since this is a free-to-play title, of course they need to find ways to make their money. The aggressive monetization does worry me for Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, because overall Ever Crisis is a solid title that is dwindled by trying to sell me something. And I want to take a look at the entire game, or at least what we have available at the moment. Final Fantasies are a bit of a new terrain, so throwing a like at this video would be massive, you have no idea. And while you're down there, please let me know in the comment section below who is your favorite Final Fantasy character. Mine is Aerith because she's the best and she can beat me with a chair anytime she likes. Thank you all so much for your support. But for starters, what even is Final Fantasy Ever Crisis? I put out a poll not too long ago and a majority of you have no idea what this game was. No worries, your homie Skyward Wing is gonna hold it down for you. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is the newest game in the Final Fantasy VII compilation. The Final Fantasy VII compilation is essentially every game that takes place within the Final Fantasy VII universe, as most mainline Final Fantasy games take place within their own universes. With Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, it's a free-to-play iOS and Android game that will give you an abridged version of the various games throughout the compilation, meaning that the game's plots will move faster with focus more on the major moments. At this time, we only have the original Final Fantasy VII and Crisis Core, with stories like Advent Children releasing in the future, which is super interesting because Advent Children, like, that's a movie, and they're adapting it into a game for the very first time. Although the real appeal of this game for many Final Fantasy VII fans is the new content, as there is a dedicated chapter called Final Fantasy the First Soldier, which focuses on a young Sephiroth in his early days of Shinra. Yeah, that same Sephiroth that, you know.
It's enough.
The thing that's kind of crazy is that this chapter shares the same name as Square Enix's Dead Battle Royale title. Yeah, did you guys know that there was a Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale? Because there was, and it was only available on mobile devices. Well, it got disconnected back in January of 2023, and they're keeping that title going strong with the new chapter stuff. They're kind of parading its dead body around like the older game never existed, and I think it's hilarious. I mean, I know it's supposed to pick up from the plot of the original Battle Royale game, but that doesn't even exist anymore. And that ultimately is what I think the issue is here. As a Kingdom Hearts fan, I know what it's like to get important story elements locked up on a phone game. You want to know the lore about this new Sephiroth chapter, you either have to play the game or wait until someone uploads the cutscenes onto YouTube. While I'm not going to be focusing much on this new Sephiroth chapter in this video, it's going to be this game's main selling point. As most of the other chapters focus on retelling older stories, the First Soldier gives us a look at a young Sephiroth and what that looks like. And I mean, there's this beautiful CG cutscene to mark his appearance, and I'm just gonna show like a little bit of it because goddamn, this is so cool.
Did somebody say boom?
You have my attention. As for the gameplay itself, it's kind of a hybrid between the remakes and the older turn-based games. The ATB meter returns, with each attack having its own value you can choose from. You can focus mainly on clearing out just the story content, but eventually you'll hit a wall like I did, where I found I wasn't strong enough to clear out enemies automatically, which is something I want to bring up because I was never a fan of the auto button in games like this. Like I said, I'm not really a mobile gamer, but I feel like having an auto button kills the entire point of playing the game itself. Like, if the characters are just gonna attack on their own, then why am I even here? Fortunately, I found out that this way of thinking was foolish when the auto feature finally got me killed. I was too weak to face off against another enemy, so I had to try out the other game modes, which is mainly solo content. You can battle against bosses and travel across dungeons to get materials and such. In combat too, you have the option between two modes, attack and defense, with attacking allowing your character to do more damage between moves, while defense retains more damage and offers more effective heals. You gotta be snappy and pay attention to all this stuff that's going on, and you got 3 party members to worry about at a time. I kinda love this loop, and it's something that has brought me coming back to playing the game every day. There's also some explorative sections of the game. These are more akin to the original Final Fantasy Fantasy VII, as players can explore dungeons to find treasure chests and hidden pathways. The art style is very respectful of the older games as well. I also love how you move around, since I'm not much of a fan of using the touchscreen in 3D games, but you can place your thumb anywhere along the screen and lean it in the direction you want to go, making it so the analog stick is literally accessible no matter where you need to go. I really like this, and I think more phone games should have this. Like I said, I'm not a mobile gamer. This is probably just a standard. I have no idea. Still, I think it's pretty cool. When participating in missions, you get the option between two parties. You can do them as the characters from the story. So let's say you're playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core, so you'll be locked into Zack for certain sections of the game. But then there's the free party mode, allowing you to pick and choose whichever combination of 3 characters that are available. Certain rewards we blocked off by playing this way, but it's just so fun. I like having a party with Zack, Cloud, and Aerith. It's really just a lady with her 2 boyfriends. It's a fan fiction button that just goes such a long way for me. Then there's the co-op content, where you can team up with other players for raid battles. And I think this might be one of my favorite features in the whole game. You and 2 other players are in a party and face off against a single boss. You can heal and apply buffs to one another to keep the battle going. It's also incredibly easy to get into a room for a quick game and for setting up private rooms with friends. This has been a feature I keep going back to in case I need to grind out for more materials. And you can even change your name. I have mine set to Midgar's Bodyguard at the moment, being almost identical to the ones in the remake. They really nailed down the art style without giving too much of the graphical fidelity up. The animation they show you for pulling weapons in this game is also so dramatic. I think Ever Crisis is perfect for those looking to casually experience the Final Fantasy VII story. The entire plot of the game isn't there just yet, but it will be released with future updates. And the game is free. There is no financial barrier preventing you from enjoying what the game has to offer. We got the big budget Final Fantasy VII remake, and we just got a remake of Crisis Core as well. This is the final piece, making it so something smaller can be put into people's hands for those who don't own a console or don't want to spend the money. Truly, I've enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy Ever Crisis, but I cannot ignore the elephant in the room. There is a massive push from this game to try and get me to spend money at almost every corner. And I'm gonna go through my experience so far. It's often that when I boot up the game, I have to click off at least 2 draw screens before I can even get to the menus. With these draw screens, I'm able to roll for a chance to get a better weapon. These weapons are stronger and overall make the game a little bit easier to get through. Now, like I said, this is a free-to-play game, so obviously they're gonna have some sort of monetization. You can play the game and grind out for draw tickets, but there are certain banners that will only accept the red crystals. And at the time of this recording, the only way to get red crystals is by putting money into the game. The packs range from $2.99 to $69.99, which in my opinion is a lot of money to spend for this game. Overall, I know everybody got their own socio-economic backgrounds, and I can't say what money is worth to you since it's different to all of us. But I can get Final Fantasy VII Integrate on my PlayStation 5 for the same amount. So it's a matter if you want to spend the money to get the higher odds on a better weapon, or if you just want to keep on grinding. Also, there's a stamina meter that prevents you from playing until it refills. You can refill it by using the blue crystals you unlock by playing the game, but then there's also the option for red crystals again, making it so you can bypass the entire wait time. You can also get blue crystals by watching an ad on your phone. These usually range from random other phone games, and I even once had a phone ad for a game that looked like this. Now, truth be told, this just sounds like regular gacha game stuff. They want me to spend buckets of my own money, but also control my advertising habits as well. These are just ways the games are designed to do that. I just think the thing that's different with this one is that we know that this isn't going to be around for a long time. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is mainly a marketing tool helped to push the rest of the Final Fantasy VII compilation. The main game right now is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, with a 3rd entry releasing a few years down the line. Eventually, both these games will release and be available to everyone. But I know once the remake hype starts to die down, this is gonna be one of the first things to go. Once the marketing cycle for the compilation is over, they're likely gonna shut this game down. And it's really hard to want to put money into a game I know I won't be able to play again in a few years. At least with the other Final Fantasy games, I own them and I can play them whenever I want. The money I spent still shows its value because I'm able to keep the product. Even if I put hundreds of dollars into this game, there will be a day where I just won't be able to play it anymore. And that's just kind of the nature with these quick gachas. I could roll for the best weapons and other costumes or whatever, but in the end, it's just gonna amount to nothing. Also, you can play the full original Final Fantasy VII on iOS and Android. The whole game is there, made for mobile devices for those looking to get an ad-free experience. And as a Kingdom Hearts fan who is looking forward to Missing Link, the next Kingdom Hearts gacha, it kind of shows me the bigger picture. Eventually that game will release and shut down and they'll move on to the next. I look at Union Cross and you can't even play that game anymore. How many hundreds to thousands of dollars players put into that game and now they can't even do nothing with it anymore? Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is just another game that gets bogged down for its monetization. I like to imagine there's a timeline where the mobile market wasn't so pushed on getting our money, but rather focused on releasing a tightly knit game with cute graphics and engaging combat. But that's capitalism for you. The entire plot of Final Fantasy VII is about taking down greedy corporations who overall do worse by the world. This just seems a little on the nose, which is why I'm so conflicted about the whole thing, because there is a really fun game under all of this, and I'll likely be playing future chapters as they release. but I don't plan on spending any money on this game. It just seems like the equivalent of lighting some money on fire. I'll just take it nice and slow and get whatever rewards I can get. You're not prevented from enjoying the game because there is monetization, and once Kingdom Hearts Missing Link comes out, we're gonna have to look at that system as well. But maybe someday we'll live in a world where every game has a paid version with all the monetization removed from the games. Maybe this one-time purchase will be enough to sustain the gaming space. Or they'll just keep doing this forever because it's working. That's what I think though. I'd love to know your thoughts on the entire situation. Have you played Ever Crisis? Are you avoiding it? Overall, what are your thoughts on the game? This is definitely some new space for the channel, so I appreciate that you made it all the way through the video. I'd love to make some more Final Fantasy content, especially focusing more on the young Sephiroth chapter that we just got. For now though, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay awesome.